Welcome back to another episode of Projecting Grandeur. I am your host, Ron Dichter. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for being part of our growing community. I want to talk a little bit today about failure and really kind of reframing the concept of it, because I think there's a lot of misconception that failure is a bad thing. And I think of failure as an opportunity to learn, an opportunity to be humble, right? Because we are all human. And I think that a lot of people look at failure as like something didn't go bad or didn't go right and it went bad. And now you have the results of it, which could be a loss of money. It could be an idea that didn't pan out. It could be the perception that people think of you. And all of these things are true, but at the end of the day, there's a reason that you did this thing, right? There's a reason that you tried it in the first place. And to think that anything you try is going to be an immediate success, like that is not real. That is not the reality in which the vast majority of us, in fact, probably all of us, live. And you need to get comfortable that failure is going to be part of the process. And it doesn't make you less of a person. It doesn't mean that you're not capable of achieving what you want to do. It just means that you took a step. Maybe you miscalculated. Maybe you didn't fully appreciate some of the needed, work that it took to be successful in that endeavor. But you had an opportunity to try, and maybe you failed, but that's okay. And I think that if we, as just entrepreneurs, people, humans, can start looking at failure for what it is, which is an opportunity to improve, an opportunity to get better, then I think we're going to be a lot more appreciative of, what happens when you do fail, because we get so in our heads about what somebody thinks, what somebody's going to view you as, that none of that matters, right? When you go home at the end of the night and you lay down and you put your head on your pillow, it's just you and your thoughts. And what everybody else thinks is irrelevant. They're not there. So don't be afraid to try something just because you might fail. I would be much happier as a person to know that I tried and failed than to wonder what would have happened if I never tried in the first place. To me, that's a much harder pill to swallow and a much harder thing to come to grips with. So reframe failure. Rethink of failure as that opportunity to grow, as that opportunity to improve. And I think you'll be much more appreciative of the moments in your life that might, be failures. Also, part of this is recognizing why you failed, right? To just fail and then do the same thing again and fail again, well, that goes back to the definition of insanity, where you do the same thing over and over and expect a different result. Part of failure is you have to learn, right? You have to look at why you failed. You have to be honest. You have to be objective. And you have to look at what was it that caused you to fail. Was it a product gap? Was it an effort gap? Was it just wrong timing? Like, what was it that you can learn from that failure that you can then try to put in place to help make, the next opportunity or the next, step that you take as success? So again, really reframe the way you think about failure. Don't be afraid to try. I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't put forth, my best effort when everybody around me said I can't. And I failed a ton. And that's why I'm where I'm at, is because I failed and I learned from those failures and I became better. So reframe failure, look at it as a stepping stone in the right direction. Just remember to learn from it. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Ron Dichter. This is Projecting Grandeur. Please remember, like, comment, and most importantly, share. Thanks again.